All right, Berean, welcome back to another edition of our interview chapels. I am joined by a former student, Mike Williams. Welcome, Mike. Good to see you
Thank
again.
you.
Mike
Yeah.
is from the class of 2019. And in 2018, I was Michael's church history teacher.
Yep.
So, that class is the last class that I had before I moved into administration and to be the principal of Berean Christian. So always will treasure that last year of teaching with you guys. We had some fun in that class. We
Oh,
had some
absolutely.
good times.
Absolutely.
Good times. I miss it. I miss being in the classroom and pouring into the kids one on one, that junior class. It was so much fun. But what about you? What are you doing? Where are you? What's going on? I mean, it's you've been out for 2 years now. Like, what have you been
hmm
doing since you graduated?
Yeah. So when I graduated, I decided to go to what's it called? Man, I can't even remember what my college is called. I go to Cedarville University, which is in
hmm
Ohio. So I've been here for the past 2 years. Well, I guess going on 2 years now, which has been really good, a really big blessing. I'm very thankful to be here and definitely seeing how like the Lord has used it in my life in so many ways. Just after Berean, being able to be here has been really really great. So
Well, I've lived in Ohio and I've been to
right.
Cedarville, but paint the picture for everybody of what is this, like a big town? Is it a small town? Like what does it look like there in Cedarville?
Oh yeah. Okay. So rundown. Cedarville is in the middle of nowhere in
Yep.
a bunch of corn and soybean fields.
hmm
So it's a lot different than back home, like extremely different.
Right. It's pretty
It's
flat, right? Pretty flat.
very flat. Yeah, there's some hills, but they're hills. You know, it's
Yeah.
like nothing too crazy when it comes to
Yeah.
scenery or anything. But it's lovely. I love it out here. It's been wonderful. Like the weather is a lot different. It gets a lot colder. I mean, we just had a really bad snowstorm recently, but that was a lot of fun for me since I haven't really been to snow much. So I got to enjoy a lot of good snow and snowball fight for the first time in my life, which was so much fun.
Yeah.
So I definitely have loved it out here.
Yeah, it's definitely a different experience in the Midwest. But so Cedarville University, is that a Christian school?
Yeah, it's Christian school.
Okay,
Yeah.
so what are you doing? What are you studying at Cedarville?
Yeah, so I am getting my bachelor's in nursing right now, and I'm also getting a minor in Bible, which is pretty sick.
Oh, awesome, awesome. So nursing. Have you? Did you always know that you wanted to go into nursing or in the medical field?
Honestly, I yes, but no. So I when I was a kid, when I was a lot younger, I definitely had the thought of just like I wanted to help people, but I just didn't really know exactly in what ways. Because there's so many ways to do that. It did help that my mom is a nurse. She's been a nurse for like over 30 years now,
hmm
so she kind of pushed and prodded a little bit in that direction. So
Yeah.
that was helpful. But yeah, I know my junior year of high school, I went through like a lot of like questioning of like, oh, is nursing really right or should I do something else? And I mean, even now I still have that question, but I think honestly, since being at Cedarville, like the Lord has definitely given me a lot more, I guess, clarity with
hmm
like, hey, continue to stick with nursing because you enjoy it. There's a lot of things that you like about it. Continue with it and just trust me and see if I pull you somewhere else, like go with that. And so I've had a lot of
hmm
trust issues, but
Yeah.
to work through. But definitely, like I feel a lot more like okay, nursing is where I should be right now. But I'm definitely open to see where the Lord leads after
Mhm.
or now or wherever, you know. So
Well, very cool. I know many students are curious about what that step from Berean is like to
mm,
college. So what's it like to go to a Christian college?
yeah, I think I think it's been great. Honestly, one, it just depends where you go. But I think about Cedarville, like it's been really wonderful because we have chapel 5 days a week, which is just unique because even like
Yeah.
a lot of Christian schools, they might have three, maybe just one on Wednesday, just
Uh-huh.
like Berean. But to have it every single day has been really cool. Also, it's been helpful because I get a Bible minor, so I
Hmm.
get to take all my nursing classes, but also I get 5 like classes in like theology and just like Old Testament and New Testament. So it honestly, I think it's so cool to be able to like have classes where I'm taught like how to study the Bible, kind of like yours back in the day, but now it's
Yeah.
like refreshers, how to study the Bible, how to think through different books of the Bible. Um, Also, like with nursing, like having like a biblical worldview, kind of like Berean, but obviously it's in college, so it's different. But having that biblical worldview and like when you're going through science classes and stuff, I think that's really great because it's just helpful to be reminded of like what the truth is while I'm studying all these other things. So in those ways, I think it's great, and also people are like pretty nice, just overall, which
Yeah.
is kind
Yeah.
of nice too. So yeah.
Christian people should be nicer people, right?
Amen.
Right. But even still, like, I think the other question,
uh,
students might be asking about going to college is, is it tough to make friends? What was your experience like with that?
Yeah, I mean, seriously, when I first got to Cedarville, before I even got here, I had so much anxiety of like, am I even gonna make any friends? I don't know anybody. Like, of course, I knew Alvin and Katie who came with me, but even then, I was like, what about all the other people that I
Wait,
didn't
wait,
know?
wait. So stop right there. Tell us who
Oh
else
yeah.
who else is there with you from Berean?
Oh yeah, yeah. I gotta say that.
Yeah, give a shout out.
Out. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So Katie Leong, who is also 2019 grad, and
Yep.
Alvin Salt, also 2019 grad, whose little brother Arkin is still at school.
Wait a minute.
Yeah,
Were all three of you in the same class? In my
yeah.
class, my same Bible class?
Yeah,
I
we
think
were all
all
in your
three of you
Bible
were in
class
that same
too.
class together.
Yeah, we also sat next to each other too.
Yo, that's right. That's why I remember. I
Yeah,
have
yeah,
that
yeah.
picture in that back corner.
Yep, you got it.
Well,
Yeah.
that's
So
fun. Okay,
so
so you're
yeah.
telling us about you're making friends, and I interrupted you.
No,
Uh,
no, you're good. You're good. Yeah, it was definitely I was very nervous. Honestly, it was a lot of prayer, just asking the Lord, just help me to trust you because I know like it can be really scary when you go somewhere with a bunch of people and you don't know anybody. Even though I know a couple, like I wasn't around them all the time, so it's like meeting new people. But honestly, like I'm very thankful. The Lord provided like so many people just to like talk to. It definitely took a lot of like kind of like sacrificing how I felt because I
mm-hmm.
felt like I don't want to say anything to anybody. I'll just like curl up in a little ball. But I was like, Lord, I'm just gonna put myself out there and shake this guy's hand and say hello.
Nice.
And yeah, from doing that, like the Lord provided so many people for me to meet, and yeah, I thought it was gonna be a lot harder, but trusting Him, it really wasn't that bad.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope that's an encouragement to anybody who has those fears because I had them
Yeah.
really bad, but
Yeah.
yeah, He provided.
Well, I knew that I knew you were going to be fine. I knew. I knew. No, I would never worry about
So
that about you. Everybody loves you. You're like a
oh
magnet.
my
You're like a
god.
magnet.
Oh,
People just want to be around you. That's really cool. And I mean, that was easy to see when
oh
you were at
man.
Berean, just your leadership and how even the younger guys were like, man, Mike Williams, I want to be like that dude. So cool. One of the other things I think is absolutely necessary for all Christian kids, moving on to college and into a new place, is to find a local church, right? I
Mm,
mean, probably the most important thing
mm-hmm.
about continuing one's walk with the Lord is to anchor in with and lock arms with some new believers. I mean, not a new church with new friends and new church members. So
Mm-hmm.
tell us about your experience there, about finding a church and just how important that's been in your transition to college.
Yeah. So yeah, before I got to Cedarville, I was doing kind of my own research of like, hey, are there churches in the area? Although obviously there's churches in the area, but like, are there any that like pretty solid? So I was kind of looking through different websites and things like that, just trying to understand. And I found so it was helpful because Katie found one. It's called Cornerstone Bible Church, and she's like, "Well, that's the first one I'm going to check out." And I was like, "Well,
Hmm.
I don't want to just go where she goes, so I'm gonna try looking at it myself." And it turns out that's the one I settled on too. So like, okay, well, I guess I'll go there too. And then Alvin was like, "Well, I'll go there too." So all three of
Nice.
us ended up going there when we first got to Cedarville. And yeah, I'm sitting in the pew and I'm just listening. I'm like, okay, well, we're singing out of a hymnal book. That's a lot different than anything I've been used to. And the preaching was about, I mean, the first day I was there, probably like an hour 10, hour 20. And I was like, that's a lot longer than I'm used to. But I'm sitting there, I'm just like, this pastor, he's preaching straight from the word. He's going straight through the text, and it's really solid. And I'm just trying to be discerning. And I'm just like sitting there, like, oh my goodness, Lord, I think this might be where you want me to be.
Cool.
And so I'm like, well, I don't want to settle now. So I'll go back next week. And after another week, I was like, yeah, Lord, this is where I want. This is where I think you have me, have for me to be. So I'm thankful because He provided right away. And I mean, since then, I've become a member at this church. I mean, I'm in college, so it's a little bit different. So they're not expecting you to like be here for the rest of your life necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I'm very thankful for that too, because that was like a really big, like, wow, like, Lord, this is really what church is supposed to be like. So I'm really thankful for that. But I think for me, it's been so important. Like, I know I've talked to a lot of people even here at Cedarville who are like, they'll be here for like 4 years, and they're like, well, what's the big deal about getting involved with church? I'm only gonna be here for 4 years. I'm gonna go move somewhere else. I can just, get involved after,
Mm-hmm.
Cedarville. And it doesn't help that we have chapel 5 days a week, so it kind of like feels like church, and like
Mm-hmm.
you're getting the word almost every single day. You're getting worship, and they're like, hey, what's the big deal going to church on Sunday?
Yeah.
Personally, I mean, I say church has been probably the biggest blessing about being here. Which is, I remember like my last year, I was like, that's kind of a weird thing to say because like Cedarville's so great, but I'm like, every single Sunday, like I would much rather, no offense to Cedarville, but I'd much rather be at church with these people than be at Cedarville like almost every single week. And I was like, that's just different. Like, Lord, why is that? Like it just felt weird. But at the same
Mm-hmm.
time, I'm like, but this is like what our lives are supposed to be like,
Yeah.
like when we leave high school and we leave college, like where's the community of believers that's gonna walk alongside you throughout the rest of your life? It's like it's the church, specifically, not just like the universal, like, oh, you're in the church if you're a believer, but like the local body that you're at that you meet up with throughout the week or on Sundays that get to know you, that are able to encourage you and exhort you, like all those things, like those, there's just so many blessings about being involved at a local church,
Yeah.
along with just serving the Lord in that way too, and finding ways to serve, because there's always ways you can serve. That's the truth. And so I've just been so thankful for the ways God has provided, like opportunities to serve, just being involved, getting to know people, being poured into, and just being able to use like the opportunities God given me through the church to minister to others as well. Not that I'm some great minister or anything, but just being able to use like different things the Lord has given me and opportunities just to serve other people. Man, I can't emphasize enough how like important church is. And that's just for somebody going to a Christian college. Like I have so many benefits of being here, just being able to have like classes that have things, having a Bible minor. But for people that aren't going to Christian colleges, which is completely fine, like I'm not hating on that at all. I think that's great. But like even for them, like I feel like it's even more important in a sense of just like, making it a priority. So that's what I'd encourage, it's just like make that a priority. Cause I know for me, like I strove to make that my priority. And man, I have been so blessed by being involved with just this local church here. And even in the one back home too, when I go back home. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of a little bit of like my church spiel, but I love talking about it because I think it's just so important.
Well, I just had a memory that popped into my head. I recall writing a recommendation letter for you because you were applying to be your class's, was it chaplain? Like your class's like go-to guy. And then I saw some. Did you preach? Because I remember seeing some pictures of you, like on social media or something, where you had a microphone in your hand and a Bible in the other, right? So fill us in on what that was and what that is.
Oh man, I'm about to cry. That's so funny. Oh gosh. Yeah. So my freshman year I got here and I was thinking about like, different ways I could be involved just on campus. And I was like, well, one of my friends kind of told me like, hey, there's this thing called like class chaplain. It's part of class council. So it's kind of like student government at Berean. Essentially it is. And so I was like, well, that's interesting. Like, Lord, I don't know if you're going to provide that for me, but hey, I can just throw my name in there and see where you lead with it. And I mean, freshman year, it just kind of like kept going. And I was like, I wasn't really doing anything special. I wasn't going around saying like, hey, I'm Michael Williams applying. I'm just like, hey, I'm Michael Williams. What's up? Just introducing myself to people, just getting to know people just for the sake of knowing them. And I mean, just kind of kept going through that. I'm like, well, Lord, if you provided this for me, then I'll do it. And the Lord just helped me be faithful with it. And yeah, freshman year I got elected. So it was interesting because
Hmm.
freshman year I got to preach once in front of just the freshmen. And then the second semester I was supposed to preach in front of like the whole school, but that's when COVID happened, and
Yeah,
so
there
we
you
all got
go.
sent home, and so I wasn't able to preach. And everyone's like, "Oh, you didn't get to preach." I'm like, "Well, that's okay. That was just the Lord's will. That's fine, honestly." And then I'm coming into this year, and I'm like, "Well, do I rerun or not?" Because I was just really considering, and
Hmm.
I decided, yeah, I'll rerun.
Yeah,
Just like put my name out there, see if the Lord provides again, and through the process, I got it reelected, and I'm like, well, here we
yeah.
are. So
There you
we're going
go.
and we're moving. And so yeah, last semester I had the opportunity to preach. Um, Man, when was that? That was in November, I believe.
Yeah.
In November, I think it was
Hey,
early
hey, it
November.
made sense to me when I saw that I mean, yes, the Lord has called you to a medical career, but there are some skills and abilities that I think the Lord is going to use explicitly in the church in your life, and I think one of them is going to be teaching the Word of God, no matter what, to bigger groups.